Listen closely, chosen one. You have waited and waited and waited. There were days you thought the silence meant denial, that heaven had turned its face from you. But even as you sat in the quiet, wondering if your prayers had dissolved into the wind, something powerful was forming inside you. It wasn't punishment. It was preparation. You see, power is not born in the noise. It's forged in stillness, in the hidden spaces where faith has no applause, where endurance becomes your only companion. Every unanswered prayer, every delay, every door that didn't open when you knocked, it was building something inside of you that couldn't be built any other way. You've been asking God, why the wait? Why the detour? Why the delay? And heaven replies softly, because I was making you strong enough to carry what I'm about to release. When the world couldn't see you, God was training you. When they walked away, God was pruning you. When opportunities passed, God was protecting you from counterfeit blessings. And now, the time of waiting is shifting into a season of divine release. This isn't just about receiving a blessing. It's about embodying the strength to sustain it. The waiting wasn't empty time, it was sacred time. You were being rewired for destiny, your spirit being expanded to hold what once would have crushed you. You thought you were stuck, but you were being rooted. You thought you were delayed, but you were being developed. The delay was never denial. It was divine design. And now heaven whispers, the waiting has built the power. The power is ready to flow. You will soon see why every no, every pause, every silent night was necessary. Because in the stillness, something unbreakable grew inside of you, a resilience the enemy couldn't steal, a faith that no storm could drown. So take a deep breath, chosen one. You're standing at the edge of divine release. The waiting season is ending, not because time ran out, but because power has matured within you. And what's coming next will prove that nothing was wasted. It was never random. Every moment of stillness had heaven's fingerprints on it. There is a pattern, a divine blueprint interwoven through your waiting, and even when you couldn't trace it, God was orchestrating each step with precision. In the unseen realm, the sound of your prayers never faded. They were stored, layered, building momentum like thunder gathering behind the clouds. What looked like nothing happening was the moment before the lightning strikes. Heaven was aligning circumstances, people, and timing to converge at one precise divine moment, this one. God says, I heard you the first time you cried out, but I loved you too much to release the promise before you were ready to hold it. Because when divine power meets unprepared hands, it becomes heavy instead of holy. And so, he waited not to withhold, but to ensure that the gift would never destroy the one receiving it. Your waiting wasn't an accident. It was protection against premature exposure. It was the mercy of God disguised as silence. The delay you despised was actually the interval that perfected your discernment. You began to see who truly walked with you and who only walked for benefit. You learned the difference between movement and progress. You stopped chasing what drained you and started protecting what feeds you. All of it was a divine classroom. Heaven wasn't ignoring you. Heaven was instructing you. Each setback was a lesson in endurance. Each closed door was an exam in trust. Each unanswered prayer was an opportunity to deepen your faith roots before the storm. And now, the voice of the Spirit declares, the curriculum of waiting is complete. What was hidden in the cocoon is ready to emerge. The season that felt like isolation was actually incubation. The seed you thought had died was simply germinating beneath the soil. The roots were stretching deep before the bloom could rise. Do you understand now why you had to wait? Because strength forged in haste breaks easily. but strength forged in patience endures every battle ahead. Heaven is now turning the page. The angelic clock that once seemed paused has begun to move again. The divine assignments that were on hold are being reactivated. The doors that creaked but never opened are unlocking not because of chance, but because divine timing has declared now. There is a holy rhythm to God's release. It does not rush. It does not delay. It arrives when both the vessel and the vision are in alignment. And now they are. This is why the weight in your spirit has felt heavy lately. It's not the burden of delay, it's the pressure before delivery. Heaven is crowning something new through your life. You've reached the threshold where waiting turns into walking, where faith turns into sight, where prayer turns into power. And the one who made you wait is the same one now saying, "It is time." There is a sound rising in the spirit, faint at first, like the stirring of wind before a great storm. It is the sound of release, the sound of divine momentum that has been gathering unseen, waiting for the exact hour to break forth. For years, heaven has been watching you hold the line when everything around you seemed to crumble. You stood when others bowed. You believed when logic screamed, "Give up." You refused to let your faith die in the famine. And because you stayed, because you didn't abandon your post, heaven is about to answer you openly. The prophecy is this: the power built in waiting is now being released. The spiritual pressure that's been building within you is about to break into manifestation. Like a dam filled to capacity, what has been restrained by divine design is now commanded to flow. You will see sudden acceleration where there was delay. You will feel strength return to your spirit like rushing water to dry land. You will notice that what once required struggle now responds to your voice. This is not coincidence, it is confirmation. God says, "I am releasing what was stored because what I built in you can now carry it." The anointing that once trickled will now pour. The insight that once flickered will now burn steady. The favor that once visited will now dwell. And every seed you sowed in tears will rise in multiplied form. Do not expect it to come quietly. When heaven releases something long restrained, it shakes the atmosphere. Expect divine disruptions, sudden shifts, unexpected calls, doors opening in places you thought were sealed forever. Expect divine reversals. Where you were once the tail, you will become the head. Where you were overlooked, you will be sought after. This release isn't only about external blessings, it's about authority. The waiting refined your spirit until heaven could trust you with command. When you speak now, it won't be from emotion, it will be from alignment. When you move now, it won't be reaction, it will be revelation. God didn't just prepare a gift for you, He prepared you for the gift. He trained your patience to match your power. He let you taste emptiness so you would never worship the outcome over the source. And now, as the divine clock strikes, your name echoes through realms unseen. Release what was promised. It's time. You will know this season by its acceleration. What took years will unfold in weeks. Connections that once took effort will appear effortlessly. Provision will arrive before the need. Your spirit will feel lighter, not because the weight is gone, but because you've grown stronger to carry it. The prophecy unfolds not in chaos, but in divine order. The same God who hid you is now revealing you. The same silence that tested you is now breaking with divine speech. And the words being spoken over you are not suggestions, they are decrees. Heaven is saying the one who waited has been found faithful. The one who endured has been proven worthy. Release the blessing, unseal the flow. But even now, don't mistake the suddenness for surprise. This was always written. Every tear, every night of prayer, every unseen act of faithfulness was a line in the divine script leading to this moment. And now, as heaven's gates open over your life, you will begin to feel the shift tangibly, a peace that surpasses confusion, a joy that makes no sense to the mind, but feels ancient to the soul. It will be as if you stepped into the rhythm of heaven itself. The prophecy is not a future promise anymore. It is a present unfolding. What was once spoken over you as a word is now becoming your reality. And as it manifests, you'll realize. The waiting didn't delay your destiny. It deepened your foundation. Because power without patience destroys. But power born of patience endures. And now that enduring power, the kind that moves mountains and parts seas, is being released through you. Every divine promise passes through 3 stages: the word, the waiting, and the release. The word awakens your faith. The waiting refines it. The release multiplies it. Most people celebrate the word and crave the release, but few endure the middle, the waiting. Because waiting feels like wilderness. It feels like nothing is moving, like heaven has gone quiet, like you're forgotten. But in truth, the waiting is where heaven's greatest work happens. Think of the seed buried beneath the earth. To the surface world, it looks gone, forgotten, under soil and shadow. But within the unseen pressure and darkness awaken its potential. The seed breaks open before it ever breaks through, and so did you. Your waiting season was your breaking season, not to destroy you, but to unlock what could only be revealed under pressure. Faith without waiting is shallow. Faith that survives silence becomes unshakable. The Spirit often hides power in patience, because patience is not inactivity, it's spiritual maturity in motion. It's the ability to trust divine timing even when your emotions scream, "Move now." God's timing isn't slow, it's precise, like an archer pulling the string back further before releasing the arrow farther. The more intense the pullback, the greater the distance of your destiny. That's why your waiting felt heavy. Heaven was stretching you for reach. The waiting refined your motives. It stripped away every reason that wasn't pure. You stopped wanting recognition and started desiring purpose. You stopped craving speed and started valuing depth. You stopped chasing what sparkled and started aligning with what was sacred. It's in this sacred delay that divine authority is born. Moses didn't lead until he wandered. David didn't reign until he ran. Joseph didn't govern until he was forgotten. Even Christ didn't perform miracles until his appointed hour. Every vessel of power in heaven's history carried the mark of divine waiting, because power not preceded by patience becomes dangerous. The waiting teaches surrender. It teaches dependence. It rewires your soul to follow God's rhythm, not man's urgency. You are being synchronized to heaven's calendar, not falling behind, but falling in step. You see, time is not your enemy. Time is a tool in God's hands. He used time to polish what pressure revealed. He let your character mature until it could carry glory without collapsing under it. If he gave you the crown before the weightlifting of patience, it would have crushed your spirit. But now you've been fortified. Spiritually, the waiting forged invisible muscles, the strength to stand alone, the discernment to detect deception, the clarity to hear God above the noise. It taught you to recognize counterfeit opportunities that mimic the promise but lack the anointing. It taught you that blessings obtained too early often become burdens. In the silence, you learned to rest in faith rather than strive in fear. You learned that being unseen doesn't mean being unchosen. You learned that when nothing moves around you, something is moving within you. And that inner movement, that sacred transformation, is what heaven calls power. The same power that raised Christ from the dead is not thunder, it's patience. It's obedience over time. It's unwavering trust in the unseen hand that moves mountains while you sleep. So when you feel delayed, remember this. Heaven counts readiness, not hours. You are not waiting for power. You are becoming it. And the longer it takes, the deeper the roots. When a tree grows quickly, its branches are thin. When it grows slowly, its roots anchor deep enough to withstand storms. Your waiting built roots. That's why your next season won't fall apart when the winds come. You've been designed to stand. Even now, heaven's purpose in your delay becomes clear. You weren't being held back, you were being held together. You weren't falling behind, you were being aligned. You weren't forgotten, you were being prepared for visibility that requires maturity. Because when divine release comes, it doesn't come softly. It elevates you publicly. And God will never let a public platform exceed private preparation. So what does this mean for your spirit now? It means your endurance was never wasted. Your silence wasn't empty. Your stillness wasn't stagnation. It was God's incubation. The same hands that delayed you are the ones now lifting you. The same silence that tested you is now breaking open with divine instruction. And when the release comes, as it now begins, you will not tremble under its weight. You will thrive under its glory. Because the waiting didn't just build your power, it built your foundation. And now, that foundation is unshakable. When heaven begins to move, the earth starts to echo it. You may not always see it first, but you'll feel it. A restlessness, a stirring in your spirit that doesn't come from anxiety, but from divine alignment. It's the sense that something invisible has started to move, that unseen doors are creaking open, and the atmosphere around your life feels charged with purpose. There will be signs. Not always dramatic, but deeply personal confirmations whispered through ordinary moments that carry extraordinary weight. One of the first signs is divine restlessness. You'll feel an inner push, as if the season you once fit inside can no longer contain you. What used to feel comfortable now feels confining. This isn't frustration, it's expansion. Heaven is stretching you to step into the new territory that's been prepared. The second sign is divine disconnection. People, habits, or even opportunities that once surrounded you may suddenly begin to fall away. Do not grieve what exits. Heaven is trimming your environment to match your elevation. When the release comes, not everything can rise with you. God removes what cannot breathe in the altitude you're going to. The third sign is divine clarity. The fog that lingered in your decisions begins to lift. Thoughts align. Answers come without striving. You start to sense peace about directions that once felt confusing. It's not coincidence, it's confirmation. Heaven always clears the path before manifestation. The fourth sign is divine reversal. Watch for sudden shifts where things that once worked against you start working for you. Delays suddenly turn into opportunities. People who dismissed you begin to remember your name. Closed doors open without effort. It will feel as if the script flipped overnight. That's because it did in the spirit first, and now it's appearing in the natural. The fifth sign is divine renewal. You'll notice your energy return, your hope increase, your joy revive. You'll wake up lighter even before circumstances change. It's the soul's response to heaven's movement. Your spirit knows before your eyes see. And for some, there will be supernatural alignment. Divine coincidences too precise to ignore. You'll hear words repeated by strangers that echo your prayers. You'll see symbols, numbers, times, or scriptures appear at the exact moment you needed reassurance. These are heaven's nods, gentle signals that say, yes, it's unfolding. Keep trusting. Every sign is a love note from God reminding you that the silence is over and the release has begun. Do not overanalyze them, simply recognize and give thanks. Gratitude accelerates revelation. So when you feel that holy stirring in your chest, When doors begin to shift, when peace starts to arrive without explanation, know this: you're not imagining it. You're sensing the wind of change that's been released over your life. The same spirit that once whispered, "Wait," is now declaring, "Move." And the evidence will surround you not to make you boastful, but to make you bold. Because every sign you see will remind you heaven is no longer silent. The release has already begun. Every divine release comes with resistance. Just before the door opens, there's a final shaking, not to destroy what's coming, but to ensure only what's real remains. You've stepped into the season of release, but don't be surprised if the atmosphere around you feels strange. There's a reason heaven allows the testing to increase right before the blessing unfolds. Because breakthrough always exposes both the blessing and the burden. It reveals what's pure and what's pretended. It shows you who's aligned and who's only attached. The first hidden challenge is spiritual fatigue. After waiting so long, your spirit might suddenly feel weary right before the manifestation. That's because the enemy cannot stop what God is releasing. But he will try to drain your strength so you doubt it when it arrives. Do not misinterpret the weariness. It's a sign you're close. The pressure you feel is the push before delivery. The second challenge is distraction. Right as destiny draws near, lesser things will compete for your attention. You'll notice sudden chaos in areas that used to be quiet. Unexpected noise, minor conflicts, emotional turbulence, all designed to divert your focus. Guard your peace like treasure. The enemy's tactic isn't destruction, it's disruption. Stay anchored in stillness, for stillness is strength. The third challenge is misunderstanding. People may question your shift, your silence, or your new direction. They may think you've changed, and you have, but not in the way they think. You've grown beyond the version they were comfortable with. Do not explain your evolution to those who are not assigned to your next level. Let your fruit speak louder than your defense. The fourth challenge is the temptation to settle. When doors start to open, the enemy will offer counterfeit opportunities disguised as shortcuts. They'll look easier, faster, safer. But premature success is a disguised snare. It gives exposure before you've built endurance. If peace isn't present, the offer isn't divine. Trust the timing that brought you this far. The fifth challenge is the test of humility. After the long wait, when favor begins to show, pride will whisper, "You did this." But the true chosen ones know every elevation is still grace. Stay low while God lifts you high. Humility protects what pride would poison. And finally, the most subtle challenge of all, the fear of fulfillment. You've prayed for this moment for so long that when it begins to unfold, part of you may hesitate to step in. That hesitation isn't doubt, it's awe. But don't let awe become paralysis. Heaven didn't bring you this far to watch you retreat. You were built for this. These challenges are not punishments, they are proofs. Proof that what's been promised is near. Proof that heaven is shifting your weight from waiting to walking. Proof that your faith has matured enough to hold manifestation. So when pressure rises, don't say, "Why now?" Say it's happening. Because the shaking isn't rejection, it's confirmation. It's heaven saying, the structure is ready, the vessel can hold the weight. Hold steady, keep your oil full. You're not being tested for failure, you're being measured for fulfillment. Now that heaven has declared release, the Spirit says, do not rush. Move with me. Because when heaven releases something new, the way you move must change. The instruction you lived by in your waiting season is not the same one that will carry you into your walking season. This is not the time to strive, it's the time to flow. The anointing you carry now responds to peace, not pressure. To discernment, not distraction. To obedience, not overexertion. The first divine instruction is protect your atmosphere. Your spirit has become sensitive to divine currents. It can feel what heaven feels. You can no longer afford to sit in chaos or feed on negativity. Guard your peace with holy vigilance. If a conversation drains your spirit, withdraw with grace. If a room disrupts your clarity, walk away quietly. Peace is not weakness, it's your new weapon. Every atmosphere you allow becomes soil for your destiny. Keep your soil pure. The second instruction is stay anchored in the Word. The release may bring blessings, but blessings can blur focus if not grounded in truth. Return to the Word daily, not as ritual, but as oxygen. You are no longer surviving on promises. You are stewarding fulfillment. And fulfillment requires alignment. Let the Word be your compass, not your emotions. The third instruction is prepare your vessel. When oil flows, it fills only what's ready to receive. This means spiritual discipline, emotional maturity, and practical readiness. Complete the tasks you've delayed. Finish what you started in the dark. Clear the clutter, both physical and spiritual, because order attracts outpouring. Heaven releases power where stewardship already exists. The fourth instruction is speak with authority. You've been trained through silence to discern what should and shouldn't be spoken. Now, your words carry spiritual weight. Stop rehearsing pain and start declaring prophecy. Speak life into the dry places. Speak faith over unfinished promises. Heaven responds to language of alignment. You've been trusted with authority, use it with reverence. The fifth instruction is forgive completely. Nothing hinders flow like resentment. You cannot hold both offense and outpouring in the same vessel. Let go not because they deserve it, but because you do. The release is too precious to be polluted by bitterness. God cannot fill a heart that's already full of pain. Empty it. Surrender it. Heal and let divine love fill the space where wounds once lived. The sixth instruction is walk in quiet confidence. You do not need to announce the shift. Heaven already did. Let your peace speak louder than your posts. Let your fruit testify louder than your words. This season isn't about proving, it's about manifesting. Move in silence until heaven says, reveal. Some things are sacred in secrecy until they're strong enough to stand in light. The seventh instruction is stay generous. You've learned how to believe in famine now. Learn how to bless in overflow. Give without calculation. Sow without fear. Because the same God who taught you to survive lack will now teach you to manage abundance. Generosity keeps the oil flowing. Selfishness stops it. The eighth instruction is honor the small beginnings again. Even in this release, God will still whisper through small things, a quiet morning, a chance encounter, a single opportunity that looks insignificant. Don't overlook them. Every great manifestation begins as a small obedience. The same humility that carried you through the wilderness will sustain you in the promised land. And finally, stay close to the presence. Do not let success pull you away from the source. Visit the secret place often, not because you're desperate, but because you're devoted. The power being released through you is not your own. It's heaven's. Stay connected to the current. The same presence that comforted you in silence will now guide you in manifestation. The Spirit whispers, I did not teach you to wait just to bless you. I taught you to listen so you could lead. This is not the end of your waiting story. It's the beginning of your walking testimony. Follow these divine instructions with reverence, for they are not mere suggestions. They are the blueprint to sustain what's being released. You waited well. Now walk wisely, because the power that's coming through you was built in secret, and heaven expects it to shine in strength. As you step forward, know this. Heaven has not only released the blessing, it has assigned protection to guard it. No chosen one walks unshielded. For every open door there are angels stationed. For every new level there is new covering. You are surrounded even when you don't see it. There is a reason you made it through seasons that should have broken you. It wasn't luck, it was preservation. The same hand that kept you in the waiting will keep you in the release. The same Spirit that guided you through storms will guide you through still waters. The God who watched over you in obscurity is the same God standing over you in this moment of emergence. The Spirit of the Lord says, "Do not fear the exposure of elevation. You are covered. Every arrow of jealousy, every word of doubt, every unseen plot, none can prosper. You walk under the authority of divine promise. You are wrapped in light too radiant for darkness to penetrate. You are hidden in plain sight, visible to destiny, invisible to destruction." Sometimes the most powerful protection doesn't come through isolation, but through insulation. God doesn't always remove you from the battle. He surrounds you with a shield that makes you untouchable in it. You'll feel the winds, but they will not uproot you. You'll see the fire, but it will not consume you, because you have already been forged in greater flames. Even in moments of uncertainty, remember, peace is not the absence of warfare. It's the presence of divine command. The storm still answers to his voice. The waves still recognize his authority, and as long as he is in your boat, no wind can sink it. So rest now, not because everything is quiet, but because you've learned that even in noise, he is near. Your discernment is your defense. Your obedience is your armor. Your worship is your weapon. And your peace is proof that heaven is still in control. You have entered a divine zone of protection, the kind that cannot be seen, but can always be felt. When others worry, you will rest. When others fear, you will smile. Because your security no longer comes from circumstances, it comes from covenant. Heaven whispers, you are not walking alone. You never were. Every step ahead has already been walked by grace. Every challenge ahead already has an angel assigned to it. Even your mistakes have been factored into mercy's equation. So breathe deeply and walk confidently. You are protected not because danger doesn't exist, but because divine purpose overrides it. You are covered not because life is easy, but because your calling is guarded. And no weapon formed against you will ever prosper, not in this season, not in any season to come. Because where purpose abides, protection abounds. And you are under divine surveillance. Grace is watching, mercy is surrounding, and heaven will never look away. There comes a moment when the unseen becomes seen, when faith takes on form, and what was whispered in the dark begins to shine in daylight. That moment has arrived. You are standing in the fulfillment of promises that once felt impossible. Heaven has shifted from silence to song, and the melody playing over your life is one of victory, restoration, and divine recognition. This is not the same you who began the waiting. The wilderness changed you. The silence refined you. The delay rebuilt you. You no longer chase approval, you carry authority. You no longer beg for doors, you build them. You no longer ask, when will it happen, because it's happening now. Transformation doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself through peace. And haven't you felt it lately, that deep calm that no circumstance can shake? That unexplainable confidence that whispers, something holy is unfolding. That is the evidence of fulfillment. Look closely, and you'll begin to notice the shift. The same places that once drained you now inspire you. The same people who doubted you now watch in quiet wonder. The same prayers you repeated in tears are now being answered with precision. You've entered a divine exchange, ashes for beauty, mourning for joy, heaviness for praise. You've become the living proof that waiting doesn't waste. It works. This fulfillment isn't loud or flashy. It's deep. It's steady. It's sacred. It's not about possessions, it's about positioning. You are no longer striving for what's yours. You are standing in it. Your spirit has expanded to fit the promise. Your capacity has caught up to your calling. You can feel the weight of glory resting where pain once lived, a holy heaviness, not of burden, but of purpose. And in this transformation, something extraordinary happens. You stop fearing the unknown because you've walked through too many dark valleys and discovered light still follows you there. You stop doubting your worth because heaven keeps confirming it in quiet ways. You stop apologizing for your anointing because you finally understand this glow isn't pride, it's purpose. God didn't just restore you, He reinvented you. You thought you were being delayed, but you were being reborn. Every tear watered the roots of the life you now live. Every setback carved the shape of strength now visible in your eyes. There's something different about your presence now. It carries weight. When you walk into rooms, the atmosphere shifts. When you speak, hearts awaken. When you pray, heaven responds faster. Because you are no longer just believing for miracles, you've become one. This is the fulfillment of the prophecy, not that life becomes effortless, but that your spirit becomes unstoppable. You've moved from waiting for change to being the change. The same world that once misunderstood you will soon recognize the light within you as divine. The mantle you carry now was forged through endurance, and it shines brighter because it has known fire. Take a moment. Breathe it in. This peace, this strength, this grace surrounding you. It's not a dream. It's the reward for your persistence, the harvest of hidden years. Heaven is smiling over you. The angels who watched you crawl are now watching you rise. The God who seemed silent is now singing your name into open doors. The waiting built the power. The power built the vessel. And the vessel now carries fulfillment. This is the moment you were made for the turning of prophecy into proof, the unveiling of purpose in living color. Walk in it. Own it. Shine with it. Because the glory that's upon you now, it's permanent. Now take a deep breath. Let the stillness wrap around you like light. You've heard the message. You've carried the waiting. You've walked through the refining. And now, you are standing in release. This is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your manifestation. The waiting built power, and the power has been released. From this moment forward, nothing about your life remains ordinary. Everything is charged with divine purpose, your steps, your words, your days. Heaven says, you have passed the test of time. You have graduated from the classroom of patience. Now walk as one who carries the fire of fulfillment. Let these affirmations anchor your spirit as you move into what's next. 1. I am no longer waiting. I am walking in divine timing. What was once delayed is now delivered. The clock of heaven ticks in my favor. 2. I am strengthened, not scarred by the seasons I survived. Every trial became training. Every tear became oil. Nothing was wasted. 3. I am surrounded by divine protection and overflowing with peace. What used to shake me now shapes me. What once wounded me now worships with me. I am the evidence of God's faithfulness. My life is living prophecy, the proof that patience produces power. Repeat them often. Speak them until your atmosphere agrees, because affirmations spoken in faith become declarations written in heaven. And now receive this final blessing. May the peace of God settle over you like dawn over water. Calm, steady, radiant. May every closed door that belonged to another season stay sealed, and every door meant for you swing wide with divine ease. May your spirit stay sensitive to His whispers, unmoved by noise, unshaken by delay. May your hands never lack the strength to build, and your heart never lose the wonder that kept you believing. From this day forth, may your journey be marked by clarity, your steps by favor, and your nights by rest. May the angels assigned to your destiny go before you, making crooked paths straight. And may you never again mistake waiting for absence, for the presence has never left you. It was with you in the silence. It walks with you in the release. And it will crown you in the glory that follows. Now go not in haste, but in holy confidence, because what was promised has begun, and heaven itself declares over your life. The waiting built power, and the power is now released.